So it is so cold today. All I want to do is cuddle up with a hot cup of coffee and my book and pretty much lounge the entire rest of the day, which making this video is pretty much the only thing on my to-do list, so that's probably going to happen. It's literally like 0 degrees outside right now. It's so cold. Hey everybody, and welcome to Lindsay's Little Library. I'm here today to share with you my final book haul of 2017. I got a lot of books, pretty good pile here. I'll share those with you as well as some bookish goodies that I got as well for Christmas. So my family and friends know my love of books, and my love of books in their eyes is pretty ridiculous, honestly. So they kind of shy away from actually buying me any books, so they just buy me bookish things. So I'll share with you what they are. My sister got me a couple pairs of socks. This one says there is no friend as loyal as a book. Then this one just has books on it with little Harry Potter glasses. They're super cute, so I love those. My boss at work gave me a candle with the new books scent in it. Super cool. And then a friend of mine from work gave me the best pillow literally ever. It says, "I just want to read books and be emotionally gripped by the deaths of fake people who never existed." Is that too much to ask? I don't think so. Awesome. And it's like super fluffy and perfect. So those are my fun bookish things that I got for the holidays. I've been putting off making this video for quite a while, hoping to get my Bookstagram Secret Santa gift included with all of this, but I have yet to receive mine, and it's December 30th today. So fingers crossed that maybe it still comes. I don't know. I seem to have really bad luck with Secret Santas, so we'll see. Maybe I won't do it next year. But the premise always sounds really fun, so anyways, let's get started. So a lot of these books came from the Book Outlet Black Friday sale, which if you've never checked out a Book Outlet Black Friday sale, where have you been? Next year, put it on your calendar. It is an amazing sale. You get, I think I got 8 or 9 books, and I spent like $36 because you get free shipping if you spend $35. So it's ridiculously cheap. It's fabulous. It's awesome. Do it. So some are from there, some are from my library. What is it about the end of the year that people donate the most amazing books to the library, and I get them for super cheap? So picked a couple up there, and then I had some Amazon gift cards that I just, had to spend. So pretty good pile here. Let's get started. The couple of books that I picked up from the library, couple of books I picked up from the library. One was The Fierce Kingdom by Jen Phillips. This is one of the best books I read in 2017. This centers around a mom who takes her son to the zoo after school one day, and the zoo is overtaken by gunmen, and she has to figure out how to survive. So fabulous, fabulous book. I did not own it though. I borrowed it to a friend, and now I own it, and I bought it for $1. And look at it. It's like perfect. Like, I swear it hasn't even been read. It's awesome. The next book that I picked up at the library, again, another one I was shocked to see, is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. Frederick Bachman wrote A Man Called Uva, which I absolutely loved. Great, great book. I read that last year. I listened to it on audio. It's fabulous. This is his newest novel. This centers around a town in Canada called Beartown. And it's kind of a dying town, and it's all of its kind of hopes and dreams settle around the high school hockey team. There's a couple of star players on that team that it follows, and some sort of tragedy happens with one of the high school girls. I don't know what it is, but it really starts to kind of unravel Beartown and kind of goes through how that affects every single person. So sounds like a great book. I've heard great things. I've heard it's a little bit of a different style for Frederick Bachman. He's one of the authors on my list to read more of this year. I have a few of his other books, and so again, from the library for $1, I couldn't pass it up. I literally had this in my Amazon cart and was like going to check that out shortly, and I'm so glad I stopped at the library and picked that up. So all right, couple other ones. Oh, my book club did a blind date with a book exchange for our December book club meeting. So each of us picked one of our favorite books of the year and bought a copy of it, and then wrapped it in like plain wrapping paper, grocery bag, something like that, and wrote a couple of sentences on the front that kind of sort of gave you an idea of what the book was about. And we went through, and everybody got to kind of pick out of the pile based upon what that sentence was. and I actually ended up with a book I had already read. So I think there were 4 of us that ended up with books that we read, and ironically, we were able to switch it up so that we got books that we didn't read. So it was pretty cool. Our book club also, we got really, really excited about all of the books that were brought that night. Trust me, there were some really, really awesome books that were brought, and we talked about throughout this next year kind of continuing to exchange those books throughout the year so that everybody in the book club gets an opportunity to read one of them or more of them. So I'm thinking about making like a bookmark that we can keep inside of it, or some sort of maybe right in the front cover or something, so we can kind of keep track of who has read all of the exchange books. But let me know if your book club does anything like that, or if you have any cool ideas. I'd love to hear them. But I got The Life She Was Given by Ellen Marie Wiseman. This, again, was an amazing book that I read this year. Could not put this down. It's about a little girl named Lily, and she is kind of locked away in her house since she was born, since she could remember. And one night her mom comes up and lets her out of the house and sells her to the circus, right? So love the circus side of things. She pretty much grows up with the circus, and then there's another character, Julia, who inherits Blackwood Manor. So it's from her perspective 20 years after Lily was sold to the circus, and kind of figuring out the secrets behind that. But fabulous, fabulous book. Pick it up if you haven't. All right, next one. I think I'll just start picking them up. Next one is Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. I believe this is a Peter Pan retelling. Tiger Lily, I believe, meets Peter, who's leader of the Lost Boys in Neverland. We're gonna go with that. Love me some fairy tale retellings. As well as this one, Queen of Hearts by Colleen Oakes. This is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, so I'm gonna give this a try. I feel like there's a booktuber that read this, and I can't think of who it was, but I've heard it's good. Next one is totally the fault of the podcast, What Should I Read Next? Which I gave up on for a little while, but she's had some good episodes lately. So if you've jumped off the bandwagon if you've jumped off the bandwagon for a little bit, jump back on. They're getting better. This is Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. This is a paranormal type book. So this all takes place in a graveyard in one night. It centers around Abraham Lincoln's son, Willie. He passed away and was buried in this graveyard, and he's kind of stuck. They have a word for it. I think it's stuck in the Bardo. So it's him and a number of other ghosts and kind of their conversations and their interactions in one night in the graveyard. So it sounds super, super interesting, super cool. I've also heard some really good things about this book, so I'm very excited to read that. It's a little outside my comfort zone, so I'm excited. The next book is The Walls Around Us by Nova Rensuman. This is about it sounds like another paranormal. So it's about one girl that's dead, one girl that's alive. There's another girl involved, and kind of how all 3 of them and their interactions led to one of them dying. Again, sounds very good. The next one I picked up, I actually gave to my husband for Christmas, but as soon as he's done reading it, I will read it. It is Enemy of the State by Vince Flynn. Vince Flynn is another one of my absolute favorite authors. I want to do an author video specifically on him because I don't feel like he's well known, and he's awesome. So his books are based around the character Mitch Rapp, and he is a CIA operative. He's a spy. He's the one that goes in, gets his hands dirty, and takes care of things. And so this book centers around the aftermath of 9/11, and this person's kind of take and spin on what could have happened. Vince Flynn sadly passed away a few years ago, and so this Kyle Mills has been writing for him. He finished up the book that Vince was in the middle of when he passed away, and this is now the second book I think he's read, the second book that he's written, and you really can't tell. I was a little nervous at first as far as is he's going to be able to continue this story in the way that I've really been enjoying it. He's been doing a fantastic job, and I still love, love, love this world, and I love this character. So if you haven't ever read a Vince Flynn book, definitely pick it up. Next up, I have a book that I saw, I think on Facebook. I follow, her name is, it's Holly's Little Book Review, and she talked about starting this book, or was reading this book, and I just immediately from the cover, it totally had me. Look at that. The Librarian of Auschwitz by Antonio Inter. Yep, World War II historical fiction, a book about books, and look at this cover, people. Totally my jam. But basically, it's a book based upon the experiences of the real-life Auschwitz prisoner, Dita Kraus. This is the story of a girl who risked her life to keep the magic of books alive inside of a concentration camp. Oh yeah, that's happening. The next few books were solely bought based upon the author because they're some of my faves. I believe in my Jodi Picoult book, I talked about how I was missing some of her books, and lo and behold, Book Outlet, they had them, so I picked them up. First one is 19 Minutes. This is about a school shooting, and it's told from the perspective of the shooters as well as the students and I believe the parents. I read this book a long time ago, but wow, blew me away. By far one of my favorite Jodi Picoult books. You start thinking, I mean, you really truly get a sense of both sides of the story here, and oh my gosh, all of these crazy thoughts, and I started to root for people you shouldn't be rooting for, and it was very, very good. Next book is Salem Falls by Jodi Picoult. I don't remember what this is about, but again, it's Jodi. Gonna read it. And then I have Sing You Home by Jodi Picoult. This one is probably the most mysterious one to me. It's about a girl named Zoe who is a music therapist. And she develops an unexpected friendship that kind of blooms into love, but there's some family drama involved, so I'm not really sure what is the topic that Jodi is picking on in this book. I don't know, but you know I'm going to read it and figure it out. Next one, again, I bought because it's the author, Kristen Hanna. It's the book Homefront. Don't know what it's about, but it's Kristen Hanna. She wrote The Nightingale. I will buy all of her books from here on out. And then I have The Deep Dark Descending by Alan Eskins. Alan Eskins wrote The Life We Bury, which probably one of my top 3 books of all time. It was a fantastic book, so I'm gonna read his next one. I have to. It's like part of the job, right? Next up we have 13 Minutes by Sarah Pinborough. Again, Sarah Pinborough wrote Behind Her Eyes. Loved. Yep, 2017, that was like my #1 book for the whole year. That was fabulous. I believe this is about a girl who was dead for 13 minutes, and it wasn't like it was on purpose. There's some malicious play involved or something, I think. I don't know for sure, but Sarah Pinborough, I'm gonna read her. And the next one is Artemis by Andy Weir. I got this as my Book of the Month Club book pick. Andy Weir wrote The Martian, which again, one of my favorite books ever, so I'm gonna read this one. This one centers around a colony on the moon, I believe. But I loved his style of being able to write science fiction in a way that anybody can truly understand, so we're definitely giving that one a whirl. Let's see. I am part of a website called Bookish First. And I am able to, as a member of that website, you're able to kind of take a look at up-and-coming books. You get a first impression, or you get to read like the first chapter or a little snippet of the book, and you write your little review on it, and then you get put into a drawing to win an arc of that book. And I got an advanced reader copy of Dean Koontz's The Whispering Room. I used to be a really huge Dean Koontz fan. When I was in high school, I read a ton of his books, and I really don't know why I stopped. I couldn't tell you, but he's a great mystery. He usually throws in a little crazy in there too, but this one I remember thinking as I was reading through the synopsis that it sounded fabulous, and totally giving that a whirl. This already came out in the middle of November. A little late to the game, but I've got a copy. I will read it. The next few, let's see. This one is The Swans of Fifth Avenue by Melanie Benjamin. I believe this was recommended to me based upon me reading The Wife, the Maid, and the Mistress. So set back in the 1950s, like Hollywood glam. I believe this one's more set obviously in New York, Fifth Avenue. And I believe there's a little bit of a mystery involved, but I don't care. It was compared to The Wife, the Maid, and the Mistress, so we'll give that a whirl. Next up we have The Cottonley Secret, I can't talk today, by Hazel Gaynor. This, I believe, has a fairy type element to it. So early 1900s, and there are, I believe, some cousins, and they're kind of back home playing at this estate, and they are told about and find the Continually fairies. So we'll try that. Plus the cover is so pretty. So pretty. Sucker for pretty covers. Next one is a psychological thriller called Her Every Fear by Peter Swanson. This is centered around a girl named Kate, and she experiences some issues with an ex-boyfriend. There's some problems there. And to kind of, she's dealing with some anxiety with it, and to kind of help start over, her cousin and her switch apartments. And when she gets there, though, I believe somebody in that apartment building was found dead, and they think her cousin did it. Right. Right. I'm sure there's a few more twists and turns involved, but it sounded great. The next book I bought was The Last Days of Summer by Vanessa Ronin. This is about a girl named Lizzie, and her brother just got released from prison, and she's letting him come stay in her house with her daughters. Sounds like he went to prison for something pretty bad, and she's a little nervous as to who she's letting back in her house, whether it's the brother she loves or the not so great guy he turned into. So, sounds interesting. And the last book, I totally blame on Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand, because I was literally watching her video, I think one of her Thursday videos, and I was at work. Shh, don't tell them. But I was also using that Amazon gift card, and this like just popped into my cart. It's The Castaways by Jessica Fleck. This, I believe she said, is a middle grade book. Based around this corn maze that when kids go in it, sometimes they don't come out of it. Sounds like there's like a alternate dimension or something like that, and they're taken to an island, and this has been happening over a long period of time. So there's kids on this island that came from obviously different maybe decades or centuries than other kids, and so it sounded like it was interesting to kind of learn about them, learn about what happens on this island, and she made it sound awesome, so I picked it up. And again, with the really cool cover, I will take it. So I think that's it. My last book haul of 2017. It's in the bag, it's done. If you've read any of these books, comment below, let me know which one I should pick up first. And otherwise, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!